Are you trying to rid yourself of something, whether it's a thought, a person, a thing, a circumstance, something that is constant in your life? Are you trying your best to detach from this thing and just be done with it? Take it away from me. Right? How do we do that? How do we really release something so that we can be free and we can move on with our lives gracefully and better than we were when we were attached to whatever it was? If that sounds like you and you're trying to release something in your life that has had a stronghold on you, keep watching. We have a lot to unpack in this video. Now, when we think about the things that we get attached to, why do we get attached to it? Why do we get attached to love? Why do we get attached to jobs, places, people, and circumstances? Well, for one, we're humans, right? And humans are creatures of habit, creatures of familiarity, creatures that need a sense of stability and permanence and predictability. We need that. It's almost like our survival depends on knowing what's next. So whether it's good for us or whether it's not, our body sometimes is just simply used to having it. So when we're trying to detach from that person or that job, that thing, that thinking that no longer serves us, it's like, why do I keep doing this? Why am I continuing to eat this way or treat myself this way, talk to myself this way? Why am I entertaining a relationship or a job that is a dead end that does not serve me? And in fact, it makes me feel depleted. It makes me feel sad. It makes me feel as though I'm not fully operating in my entirety. Why do we keep going back to those things? And these are the questions that we have to ask ourselves, because sometimes we can get so frustrated. I know for me personally, on this journey of finding myself, becoming the woman that I'm meant to be, that I was put here to be, it's been a very frustrating but very, very rewarding journey overall. But the frustration came from the habits that die hard, or the repetitive behaviors that die hard. Because when you're so used to doing things a certain way, your inclination is to keep doing it, whether it's good or whether it's bad for you. So we kind of have to hack our own mind, hack our own body, hack our own spirit, become very, very techie when it comes to ourselves and extremely surgical when it comes to these things. Because if we don't allow ourselves to rid ourselves of certain things that we are always doing and that keep us down, we're not going to be living the life that we deserve. And like I say, we all want to be on a yacht. We all have that visual of a yacht, right? The yacht is just our object of what we're aspiring to. I want to be somewhere on a yacht. So that's why I call it a yacht. Now, if you too want to be on a yacht, right, with me, so we're partying up, we're drinking our green juices with a little side of champagne, right? And we're having a blast, we're swimming, we're doing all these wonderful things. We have to learn how to release what's not for us. Now, one major way that has helped me tremendously on this path, release what has no longer served me, is starvation. You're probably like, what? What are you talking about? Starvation. What? I want to eat. I want to eat too. And I'm actually hungry right now. But I'm going to have a green juice because I got to unbig this back. Okay, summer is here. What I mean by starvation is that a lot of times we're in a mode where we fight. I have to fight this thought. I have to fight the want to go back to this person, this place, or thing. But fighting is such a counterproductive kind of situation. Right? We don't need more resistance. What we need is to completely let go. And the best way that I've learned in many ways to let go is to starve something. Right? So just like if cancer is growing in your body, we don't fight cancer, we starve it. We stop eating the foods that feed those abnormal tumorous cells. We stop putting ourselves in environments that feed the cancer, right? Cancer thrives. And right now I'm just using cancer as a metaphor for anything in our life that we're trying to get away from and get rid of. It must be starved. So if you're trying to leave a relationship, if you're trying to leave something that's been unfulfilling, or it's a dead end, or even worse, it makes you feel like crap, you must starve that. And what do I mean by starve that, especially if it comes to a relationship? By that, I mean, when you're talking to this person, if it's difficult for you to just cut them off cold turkey, I know that can be very tricky. That is what I suggest. That is how you starve it the best. You learn that you have cancer one day, you starve it immediately. You stop the sugars, you stop the starches, you stop the environment, the toxicity, all that feeds it. So the way that would translate to releasing a person or starving this part of you that really thrives off of this person is to cut it off. But it's like, it's so difficult to just cut people off that we love, cut things off that we love. So what we do is we hack ourselves, right? I mentioned the word kind of hack ourselves, get really good with coding, but coding to our betterment. And by that, I mean, we must start to look at ourselves or look at the situation that we're attached to as something that is impermanent. Then we ask ourselves, how could I get deep down within me, in my spirit, soul, and body, that this situation and this person or this thing that's not feeding me, how do I convey that to myself that is impermanent? So if you're talking to somebody and you're texting them, delete the thread after every single text that you send them. So that way, when you open up your thread, you see it's not there. It's gone. We're starving it. That's going to start to signal to your body, mind, and soul, your whole being, that this situation is coming to an end. If you're always hanging out with somebody or always going somewhere that does not prosper you, stop going. Or do it a little less. If you hang out for 5 hours, do it for 3 hours. Because all we're trying to do is build habits that constantly signal to our mind over and over again, as frequently as possible, that this is an impermanent thing and it is coming to an end. We want to slowly bring in the era of starvation for these things that we're trying to rid ourselves from. So if you're used to spending a whole lot of time, spend a little less time if you can't cut it off cold turkey, right? If we're trying to eat better, we're trying to detox our mind, body, and soul. We want the glowing skin. We want to feel fantastic. We want to be the best version of ourselves. And we feel like the way to do that is by eating. But I just keep eating chicken wings. Who the hell made lemon pepper wings so good? Why is it so seasoned? Right? Those are the things that kind of keep us attached to those things, the eating habits, the thinking that is destructive to us. But instead of eating the 10 wing Big Back special, eat 3 wings instead, because it's going to constantly signal to yourself, we must starve this idea, this attachment. And over time, if we keep taking it away inch by inch, little by little, what that does is help us get to the promised land, right? If we can't do it and we can't just cut it off, we need to do it inch by inch, starve it bit by bit. One thing that really helped me when I was struggling with just simply, it wasn't necessarily like a specific thing or anything that I was trying to achieve or something super duper specific. I just simply wanted to embrace newness. I had no idea where my life was going. I had no real plan, but I knew I needed change. And I was in a very uncomfortable space in my life where I was broke. I was trying to figure out my next move. It needed to be my best move or else. So I was in a really tight situation, but I was also in a situation that I had no stability. I had no predictability. I had no level of comfort and familiarity that's coming because nothing was familiar anymore. I left my job. I left everything. I ended a relationship. I was just completely new. It was like somebody dropped me off on Mars and I'm looking around like, oh, okay, this is a new territory. I don't know how to navigate this. So it sounds very odd, but I had this robe and my real friends, they know this robe, my Snuggie. It was a wonderful purple zip up robe, but the zip up broke in college. That's back in like 2015. That zip up been broke. And we're 2024, right? So I had it for about maybe 8-9 years at that point, because I think I had it from like freshman year, sophomore year in college to now. So to then. So it was about 8 years, I believe I had this thing. It's been with me, right? Through when I was comfortable, when I was a teacher, when I got broke from switching from, being employed in a 9-to-5 to starting my entrepreneurship journey. It's been with me through 2 relationships, my college relationship, my adult relationship when I'm in my 20s. And it's just been with me through so much. So I had an attachment to it. But I was like, Alyssa, you need to start practicing detachment. Why is it that you put so much value on this thing? Why is it that you put so much value on this experience and that it's been with you? And I was trying to teach myself that by letting it go, I literally put it in the garbage. I took a picture of it and everything. I needed a ceremony for that robe. Like, let's moment of silence. It was really a wonderful thing for me. It just brought me so much comfort. But I was attached to it in an unhealthy way. We want to be connected, but we don't want to be attached. Now, how does that lend itself to the starvation thing I was talking about earlier? Although there was so much comfort that the role provided, my Snuggie, the familiarity, people knew me with the Snuggie. I even brought my Snuggie on the plane with me. You know, when the airport gets real cold or the plane gets real cold, my Snuggie was there. It was with me through breakups and makeups and all that type of stuff. But what I realized is that I can use this as a symbol, right? A symbol that I need to release and starve the things that I'm actually attached to. The relationship was done. I've been out of college. I've been done with the people, the places, and the things that I was familiar with. So I said, Alyssa, we need to use this as a symbol right now that we're finishing this. So if you have something, and it helped. I know it sounds crazy, but it's a little method to the madness, right? It did help. So if you have something that's been with you for years and you just love it, I want you to get rid of it. Get rid of it. Put it in the garbage. Light a candle. Bury it in the backyard. No, we're not burying it in the backyard. We don't, Put it in the trash. It's done. Because that part of you is done. What that signal to me is that part of my life, my beingness was finished. It was done. And there was nothing more that I should have been doing than moving forward. So again, if starvation is the order of the day, we must rid all things that remind us of that. Delete the text immediately. Spend less time. Don't get the 20-wing big back special. Get the 3 wings instead. Right? Do things that's going to constantly signal to your mind, body, and soul as one that we are changing. Because your mind could be in it, but if your body and your soul isn't in it, then you're creating resistance. Now my whole being is not on the same accord. So whatever we do, we have to make sure we're doing it with the whole us and really trying our best. So again, if you're trying to release something from your life, start by starving it in little ways. I think the best way is to cut it off completely. That has 1000% been helpful for me, cutting things off completely. Sometimes things don't need to be unearthed and talked about and realized. Some things do, but there's some things that you just realize after a while, like, damn, I done messed around and healed. I got better at this whole situation. I feel so much better. I feel like a new person. I feel wonderful. And these are the things that we need to really remember. Go back to the times when something kind of just fell off and you look back and you're like, wow, how did that even happen? How did I even heal from that? Starvation was the order of the day. Somewhere along the path of your life, that became less and less prominent in your life, whether it's because you moved away from the person, because you started college, something else took precedence in your life, but it became less and less important, less and less significant. And we need to signal that to ourselves, but with the things that we struggle with the most. Starvation is the order of the day. All right, guys. So if this video gave you any kind of clarity, if it resonated in any way, I need you to subscribe. This channel needs to go up. I have a lot to do. You guys have a lot to do with what I got to do. So I need you to do your part. Subscribe, comment, like, and share. Please like this video because that really helps YouTube say like, hey, push this channel to the top. All right. So again, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.